They laughed at me, right there, in front of everyone, and I wanted the floor to swallow me whole. That was me, Lila, 16, standing in the middle of the school gym, my science fair project sprawled across the floor like a defeated soldier. I could feel the heat rising in my face, the sting of humiliation cutting deeper than any words. And the worst part? Everyone was watching. Everyone was laughing. But before we continue, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell for updates. I tried to pick up my notes, my hands trembling, but the papers slipped again, scattering like confetti. Why me? I thought. Why now? There was Jenna, 17, smirking from across the gym, her friends snickering behind her. Perfect, I thought bitterly. The queen of popular high school cruelty, enjoying my destruction. Even Max, my classmate and occasional friend, hesitated, caught somewhere between sympathy and awkwardness. The teacher, Ms. Carter, hovered near the podium, her face frozen in a polite, uncomfortable smile. "It's okay. Accidents happen," she said. But her words bounced off me, meaningless echoes drowned out by the laughter, the whispers, the pointing fingers. I felt trapped in a nightmare where every heartbeat shouted, "You're worthless, Lila. Everyone sees it." And yet, something didn't sit right. Amid the chaos, I noticed subtle tension. The whispers weren't just about me. There was a commotion near the doors, a nervous energy under the laughter that I couldn't yet understand. What's happening over there? My curiosity prickled, even as my pride screamed at me to disappear. I wanted to vanish. I wanted to hide in the bathroom and let the world move on without me. But deep down, something in me stirred, a quiet, stubborn thought. Maybe this isn't the end. Maybe something else is coming. Hours later, I would discover that what humiliated me today would also make me the one everyone turned to. The very people laughing, pointing, whispering. They wouldn't believe what happened next. And the truth? I didn't even believe it myself at first. For now, all I could do was take a shaky breath, my cheeks burning, and glance toward that strange commotion outside the gym. Something was happening. Something that would change everything. And in that moment, I realized my worst day wasn't over yet. I could feel every single pair of eyes on me, burning into my skin like fire. Why did everyone have to watch me fail? I stood frozen, clutching the edge of my shattered project table, trying to gather my scattered experiment pieces. The paper slides, charts, and tiny circuits I had worked on for weeks were now strewn across the gym floor. My heart hammered in my chest. The whispers, the snickers, they felt like daggers. Jenna leaned against the bleachers, her smug smile twisting cruelly. "Nice going, Lila," she mocked, her voice dripping with amusement. Her friends giggled, their eyes sparkling with that mean teen satisfaction that only high school popularity can give. I wanted to disappear. I wanted to melt into the floor. But even as my humiliation peaked, I noticed Max, standing a few feet away, frowning, unsure what to do. He looked like he wanted to help, but he didn't. Couldn't. Wouldn't. I swallowed hard. It's okay," I whispered to myself, though my voice trembled. The words rang hollow. I was quietly brilliant, creative, and usually unnoticed. But right now, unnoticed would have been a blessing. Everyone was staring, and their judgment stung worse than any slap. And then came the small, subtle signs, tiny glances, furrowed brows from people who weren't laughing, a teacher whispering urgently to another adult, a flutter of movement near the gym doors. Something was off. The laughter around me sounded almost nervous, but I had no idea why. My hands shook as I tried to piece together my project, frustration and panic mixing in a cocktail of adrenaline. Maybe I'll never show my face in this school again, I thought. And yet, a tiny spark ignited inside me, a mix of stubbornness and curiosity. Something beyond my embarrassment was happening, something that might change everything. I noticed the students at the edge of the gym beginning to gather, their attention shifting. Jenna's laughter faltered, her eyes widening. Max was squinting toward the doors, tense. Even Ms. Carter looked alarmed now, her polite smile gone. That's when I saw it. A flurry of movement outside the gym, hands gesturing, voices raised in panic. Something was wrong. Something urgent. My stomach twisted, a mix of dread and adrenaline. And for the first time that day, I felt needed. What was happening out there? I had no idea. But I knew one thing. I couldn't just stay here and cower. Something was about to happen, and it was going to pull me straight into the chaos. The laughter from earlier vanished instantly. One moment, the gym had been filled with mocking whispers and snickers. The next, chaos erupted outside the doors. I froze for a second, heart hammering, trying to make sense of the noise. Then I saw it. A group of students crowded around something or someone near the edge of the courtyard. Panic rippled through the crowd like a wave, and my stomach twisted. Max was already moving toward the commotion, but even he hesitated, unsure what to do. Jenna's smug confidence had vanished. Her jaw dropped, her eyes wide with fear. The teacher was shouting instructions, but the voices were drowned out by screaming and chaos. I didn't know why, but something clicked. I stepped forward. My embarrassment didn't matter anymore. Something was wrong, and everyone needed help. My hands shook, but I pushed the fear aside. I reached the center of the chaos and saw Tommy, a younger student, trapped under part of a fallen science display. His cries were frantic, and he was pinned in a way that made it impossible for anyone larger to lift him easily. Most of the other students froze, too shocked to act. My pulse raced, but I knew I could do something. I had studied this kind of structure for my project. "Max, grab that beam!" I yelled, pointing to a wooden panel nearby. "Everyone else, step back!" For the first time that day, they listened. Slowly, carefully, I coordinated the rescue. Sweat dripped down my face as I lifted and leveraged the panel just enough to free Tommy's leg. He scrambled out, gasping and clutching my arm. The students who had mocked me hours ago stared, mouths open, unable to process what was happening. Jenna whispered something, disbelief written all over her face. Max nodded at me, a mix of admiration and shock. I realized, as I helped Tommy to safety, that the humiliation from earlier was gone, completely replaced by focus, adrenaline, and responsibility. I wasn't embarrassed anymore. I was needed. But just as I thought we were safe, something moved. The structure shifted again, precarious, threatening to fall further. Panic flashed across everyone's faces. All eyes were on me. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it might burst. I had no choice. I had to act. The fallen science display teetered dangerously, threatening to crush more than just Tommy if it toppled completely. Around me, students froze in shock, their earlier teasing forgotten. Jenna's mouth hung open, Max's jaw tight with tension, and even the teacher looked helpless. In that moment, I wasn't the girl who had embarrassed herself in front of everyone. I was the only one who could prevent disaster. I assessed the situation quickly. My hands shook. but my mind was clear. "Step back!" I shouted, directing everyone away from the danger zone. Using a combination of leverage and careful balance, techniques I'd learned while building my science project, I wedged a support beam under the unstable display. My arms trembled as I applied all my weight in just the right way, praying it would hold. Seconds stretched like hours. One wrong move, and everything could collapse. I glanced around. Jenna, usually so cruel, looked terrified, her eyes wide with disbelief. Max nodded at me, silently encouraging me to keep going. And then, it shifted. The structure started to settle, slowly, safely. Relief surged through me, mingled with adrenaline. Tommy scrambled to his feet, clutching my arm. "You saved me!" he gasped. Around us, the other students erupted into murmurs of awe. Whispers of, "She did it. She really did it," spread like wildfire. For the first time that day, the laughter wasn't at me. It was of amazement, respect, and shock. I took a shaky breath, trying to process the shift. Hours ago, I had wanted to vanish from the world. Now, every eye in the courtyard was on me, silently asking, what else can she do? Jenna approached slowly, her usual arrogance replaced by humility. Max grinned, finally speaking. "I knew you were capable, Lila. I just didn't know everyone else would see it." And in that moment, the social hierarchy of the day crumbled. I wasn't the girl to be mocked. I was the girl they needed. The one who had taken the humiliation and turned it into action. The girl who had risen above panic, fear, and embarrassment to do what no one else could. The truth was simple. Earlier, my science project had fallen apart, and I had been the target of every joke in the gym. But then came the chaos, the unstable structure, Tommy trapped underneath, the screaming, the panic. And in that critical moment, my knowledge, my hands, and my calm thinking were exactly what everyone needed. I lifted, wedged, and balanced the display just right, saving him from serious injury. Every student who had mocked me had frozen, helpless. And now, they realized something they hadn't before. I wasn't just the quiet, awkward girl. They had underestimated me. Emotionally, it hit me in waves. Relief that Tommy was safe. Pride in myself, something I rarely allowed. Shock at how quickly the social dynamic had shifted. And yes, satisfaction. Finally, the people who had made fun of me were seeing me in a completely new light. Jenna, usually untouchable, walked up, cheeks flushed, eyes avoiding mine. I didn't think you could do that," she admitted quietly. Max gave a grin that said more than words could. And the rest of the students whispered among themselves, a mixture of respect and awe lingering in the air. The consequences were clear and lasting. Socially, my reputation transformed. Teachers praised my quick thinking and calm under pressure. Students who had teased me now approached with humility, offering apologies or just acknowledging my ability. Relationships shifted. Max became a true friend, Jenna learned a lesson in humility, and the crowd that had once isolated me now saw me as capable, reliable, and strong. Personally, I realized something even bigger. Embarrassment isn't the end. It's a stepping stone. How you respond to it defines who you are. In the end, I stood alone for a moment, breathing in the calm after the storm. The gym, the courtyard, the faces of everyone who had laughed at me, they all told the same story. Respect isn't demanded, it's earned. And I had earned it today. I went from wanting to disappear to being the one everyone ran to. And for the first time, I didn't feel small. I didn't feel invisible. I felt unstoppable. The day that began with laughter and shame ended with validation, gratitude, and a quiet pride that I would carry with me forever. My humiliation had become my moment of strength. And that moment, every single second of it, changed everything.